Okay, we're celebrating Valentine's Day, I think sometime later on this week. So I want to just talk a little bit about love. Wish all of you a happy Valentine's Day, all of you YouTubers out there and all of you that are in-house. It's a pretty big business. Love is a pretty big business. Have you ever noticed that? We sell a lot through love, and it's we're prompted to do things. If we love somebody, we are expected to do things certain ways and all. And that's a whole aspect of love as we think about it, is how it is involved in human relations. And of course we have our pets and all the other things that we love in life, but we want to take a spiritual look at it today. And by that I don't mean that I'm going to be talking about something separate from what we all think of as love, but more of a sense of a source, the source of love working through us. I think they're doing construction over there today, and so just apologize for the beeping or whatever they're going to be doing. They told us they wouldn't do that when they started, but I think they got behind on a couple of snow days. But anyway, we'll be fine with it. We'll just love them right through it all. So the idea of love is often a personal, we approach it from a personal way. We think about our the loving relationships we're involved in, what that means and all. But from a spiritual perspective, we see it from a much higher place, and I think a place that allows us to see our relationships in a slightly different way. Love is both a great attractor and a great dissolver. And maybe we don't think of it that way so much in terms of the dissolving side. But sometimes the very best and highest thing that can happen to us is for something to dissolve. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be maybe a place that we live we're not quite happy with, and something happens that causes us to move out or to make some new choices. But to think of love as a dissolver, I mean, we don't normally think of that. We think of it as, open arms running toward each other with madly in love kind of thing. But sometimes those things don't last that long, and so the very best thing is run the other way. And so love becomes a dissolver. And why do we do that? Why would we dissolve something that seems so right at one time? It's either because we outgrew it, or it's different than we thought it would be. So what I've said many times, I took you for better or for worse, and you're a lot worse than I took you for. So that changes things. Love draws greater good, but it also dissolves attitudes, perceptions, relationships, and conditions that keep more favorable situations from developing in our lives. When something starts dissolving, something starts crumbling, we tend to want to cling to it. We tend to want to hang on to it, because especially if we don't initiate it. We're not quite sure why this is happening, and maybe even if we're not quite happy with it, maybe the dissolving aspect of it seems unexpected, and we're not quite sure. We're not quite happy with it, but it's part of who we are up to this moment. We identify and associate with it. And it feels like if that thing, that relationship is gone, then some part of ourselves is under attack or threatened. Sometimes we're not aware of the things that need to dissolve. And so we cling to them as if their dissolution is a threat to our well-being. The prayer of love is a conscious recognition and willingness to let love enhance our strengths and dissolve our weaknesses. Most of us know our strengths and our weaknesses. And sometimes, especially in the department of weaknesses, we do everything we can to build those up, to strengthen the weaknesses rather than let them go. And just as a simple example, if you have ever been afraid, And there's nothing there to be afraid of except your own thought, your own perception of how something might go. And you're actually experiencing fear. That's a weakness. And we all do it. We all have that. Do we ever stop and ask ourselves why we would use that particular reaction to something we can do nothing about? Why is that part of our being? Why is it part of our repertoire of reactions to life? Why would we experience fear? Does it do anything for us? Does it benefit us in any way? What it does is destroy the quality of the now moment, which is the only time we have. And we're all aware of that. But why is that part of our arsenal, or part of our the way we approach life to solve problems? Through fear. And I'm not talking about the kind of fear that, if you would encounter a bear on hiking trail, grizzly bear particularly, or whatever, which fortunately we probably won't here. That's a different kind of fear. That's the fight or flight kind of thing, and it's a wise thing to stay clear of grizzlies and things like that. The fear I'm talking about is, as I was growing up, the bear under the bed. That bear? That thing that's under the bed that is going to get you. I used to really genuinely worry about that. I had all kinds of visions about bears under my bed. And I never stopped to think about how logistically impossible that would be. That a bear would first of all have to find my bed, have to get in my house, and probably the hardest thing the bear would have to do is fit under the bed. But when you are a kid and you're laying in bed awake at night thinking about bears under your bed, none of that matters. You override all logic. So why do we do that? Why would we do that? And you can translate that kind of imagery into something that's going on in your life right now. Something that's happening that you can do absolutely nothing about, but you are feeling fear, you're feeling worry, having some type of a negative reaction. So we would ask ourselves, what is it of value? What is the value in reacting this way? And you may say, well, I don't have a choice. Well, you do have a choice. Just like when I was growing up, I could have gotten up, if I would have survived getting out of bed, and turned on the light and looked under the bed and solved my problem. Because if I was assured myself there was no bear under my bed, then I could rest in the logic that if maybe he's crept into the house at night later on, he would have to go through a lot of hurdles. Have to get in the house first of all. First of all, he has to find my bed. Then he has to get in the house, and he has to get under the bed. So you can solve the problem immediately. Why would we lay awake at night in bed worrying about a bear under the bed? What does that do? What does that solve? What does it accomplish? And of course the answer is nothing. But it's part of our thought process. So take a modern day, a present scenario that's going on in your life, and you're thinking about that, and you've got a knot in your stomach, and you are, having all kinds of thoughts about how you might get through this, how you're going to deal with it. Are you obligated to do that? You're a mature adult, you're responsible, and all of that, which may be what we're associating with that type of reaction. I'm responsible, so I'm going to worry about it. We say that in passing. When we tell somebody not to think about something, we say, don't worry about it. But we usually don't follow that advice. We do worry about it. And what has worry accomplished? We all know this. It doesn't accomplish anything but make us miserable. So when we are thinking about love as an activity in our life, and we're thinking about this bear under the bed, whatever our version of that is. If we start with this idea that love is dissolving everything unlike itself right now, the thing I'm worried about, love is dissolving everything unlike itself. And of course that includes my fear. Love dissolves fear when we allow ourselves to rise into that consciousness. It's a knowing that love is working in my life right now. It's dissolving the thing that I fear. Dissolving the thing that's not for my highest good. And worry is at the very top of the list. So you're making a conscious effort to look at yourself. Okay, here I am worried about this thing. So I could pray to God to change this thing, and maybe I've already done that and nothing seems to be changing. So what do? If I acknowledge that love is dissolving that which is not for my highest good, that means it is dissolving my fear. I let go. I let go of that reaction that I'm having. Why would I do this? Why would I engage in something that does absolutely nothing? There's a bit of logic in this, but mainly it's an emotional shift that we make. We go from worrying about this thing to knowing that this thing is being dissolved. Things are happening in a way that maybe I'm not seeing, and maybe I don't need to see. And at the same time, that whatever is working against me is dissolving, the answer that works for me is materializing, being drawn to me. Yesterday, Beth lost her glasses, and so we looked all over the house for a long time, I don't know how long, and looked 3 and 4 times in the same place. None of you probably have ever done this. The most embarrassing one is when I lose my pencil and it's up in my ear. But I never tell anybody about that. But she lost her glasses, and so we looked and looked and looked. And just what occurred to me is, after however long we did that, is just stop. If we stop looking, we'll find them. And sure enough, she comes in from her bathroom this morning and said, I found my glasses on the vanity of the bathroom. And they were actually right there in plain sight. I mean, maybe there was something on top of them, but I looked 3 or 4 times on that vanity, and there were no glasses. I think our cat put them there. I don't know how they got there, but they got there. So she's part of the conspiracy. But you know, when you're working real hard to see an answer, sometimes you can look right at it and you don't see it. It's kind of strange. It's when you let go and just go about your business. So see, that's how love works. It says, stop trying to find the answer. Stop working so hard because you're just making yourself miserable. And as I was helping her search, I was thinking about that, just not doing it in a stressful kind of way. One technique I like, it didn't work this time, but I like it anyway, is just to say the word find. When you've lost something, you can't find it. Just relax and say the word find. And I actually envisioned either me finding her glasses or her coming in and telling me she found them. And it was the latter. She came in and told me she found them. And what I heard in my mind was about the same thing I heard in real life this morning. But it's the letting go that sometimes allows you to see, and it's the clinging that blinds you. It's got to work out this way. I've got to find this. I've got to get this answer right now. And we're looking so hard that something shuts off. I don't know what it is. But you can look straight at something and not see it. when you're in that state of mind. The prayer of love is a conscious recognition and willingness to let love enhance our strengths and dissolve our weaknesses. What if you think a weakness is a strength? Or you think you're willing to let that go? What if our frantic search, again, why would we be frantic searching? Because we've got to find it. Well, what if we don't got to find it? What if we give ourselves the freedom to not have to find it? To not reach a conclusion today about what we're going to be doing, about what we need to do? What if we don't have to have the answer today? We want it because we want to be peaceful. We want to have peace of mind. But who's in charge of your peace of mind? If it's all the problems in your life, then peace of mind comes and goes. It's flitters in and flitters out. Depends on you lost your glasses or not. Things will control how you think and feel. And we're all subject to that. I'm not acting as if I'm above all that, because it's very easy to get caught up in a reaction. One that solves absolutely nothing. So if we pause and just say, love is doing its perfect work. It's dissolving that which is not for my highest good in this situation. And it's drawing to me that which is. Just a simple thing like looking for your glasses. What would it be dissolving? It'd be dissolving that I've got to find these things. I've got to do this. I've got to get this done. I've got to accomplish this so I can be peaceful. But when you think about it, where does peace go when you're not peaceful? Where is it? Is it gone? Is God omnipresent or is God not? Is God only present when we're peaceful, when we decide to be peaceful? Or is God always present and we always have access if we will make the choice to do so? See, that's unconditional love. It's active and present no matter what state of mind we're in. But we're putting conditions on things. I must find these glasses, or I cannot be happy, I cannot be peaceful. So we put a condition on it. But the irony of the whole thing is, if you let it go and become peaceful, you'll probably find it. It's like, which comes first? Finding the thing and being peaceful, or being peaceful and finding the thing? I don't like things unresolved in my life. I don't think anybody does. And it's sometimes easy to obsess over resolving something rather than just going with the flow, as they say. But going with the flow means we're acknowledging that every step I take is the right step, everything I do is the right thing, that love is dissolving those barriers that keep me from seeing. In my case, it's a stress that doesn't allow you to see something you're looking at. So you let go of that and suddenly it appears. You've seen those stereograms, where you look at it in squiggly lines and you let your eyes relax and a fish or something appears. It's really amazing. Whoever came up with that, I have no idea how they did, but a lot of people can't see them because they're looking at it intellectually. They're looking at it as if it's a picture. You look at it without looking at it. When you hold your finger up in front of your eyes and you let your eyes relax and you see two fingers. It's that type of looking. It's not normal, zeroed in, conscious thinking. And pretty soon this whole picture emerges. It's a different way of seeing. And I have equated that to the whole spiritual thing. We live in the finished kingdom of God, but we don't see it because we look for it in intellectual ways. That's the people looking for the second coming and all that represents. Jesus is going to come back, fix the world, and I'll be happy. If you're happy, it doesn't matter if Jesus comes back or not. You're not waiting for that. If you learn to let go of those kinds of expectations, I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back in the way that people think he's coming back. And if he did, he'd probably still get the same treatment. Because we wouldn't understand him any better then than we do now. Or now than we do then, whatever. We wouldn't understand him. He was speaking of something that's right in front of our face that we're not seeing, and we have not learned how to see it. He's talking about a stereogram with a picture of a fish on it, and all we see is squiggly lines. So we say, well, that's not the kingdom. The kingdom's going to come some other way. He even said it doesn't come through observation. You can't say it's going to be here, low there. The kingdom of God is within you, just as all your experience is. Your vision begins within you. I can't see glasses when I'm struggling to find them. That's going on in me. I can see them when I let go. I can't see the stereogram. I can't see the fish when I'm struggling to see it. All the effort I put in to focus on that fish. Somebody says there's a fish there, and I'm looking for the fish. You don't see the fish till you let go of your normal type of looking. And I think there's a great lesson in that. So it's important to think like your situation now. If there's something going on now that's keeping you awake at night, if you got a bear under your bed of some kind, this is where it applies. Love may appear to be a double-edged sword that can heal or wound. And there's probably as many songs written about how wonderful love is as there are songs written about how hurtful, harmful love is. Country music used to be known for that. It was about all the things you've lost. I don't know that it's so much that true now, but it's, in fact, nothing about country music is the same as it was. At one time, there are a few artists that maintain that. But we used to sing about struggle. There was some kind of virtue in struggle. That was the definition of folk music is, a folk singer is somebody who gets rich singing about how bad things are. And I think there's a certain amount of truth to that. For some reason, we like to have our hearts tugged at in a negative way. So love appears to be a double-edged sword sometimes. It can heal or it can wound. But when love is left to do its perfect work, the results are always in our favor. So do we believe that? Do we believe that to the point where we can actually let go of something? When we can stop working so hard, searching so hard for those glasses, can we actually say to ourselves, they'll turn up if I let go? Or do I feel like I have this thing, I have to do this thing? Love clears the way for us to move past self-restricting attitudes or behaviors that keep us struggling in the constraints of limitation. And I'm using the illustration of lost glasses, but it applies to everything. It applies to everything we're worried about, everything that we're concerned about. And you think, well, lost glasses, that's a small thing. It is. But it's the same principle. Whatever it is we're dealing with, whatever you're doing in this now moment it's a series of decisions, of perceptions that you have, and you're making decisions based on those perceptions. So you're saying, I have to resolve this thing before I can be happy or before I can experience peace. But that's what the spiritual thing is all about. No, you don't have to resolve it. We want to resolve it, and it will be resolved. But at this moment, this thing is going on, but there are other things going on. And if I acknowledge that love is dissolving all those things that are not working for my highest good and drawing to me those things that are, and I truly rest in that, I stop the search, I stop the anxiety. Can we do that in the midst of a crisis? Can we do that in the midst of a challenge? Why are we studying this stuff? Why are we reading the books on spiritual ideas if we don't bring them to the front line of life where we are? If we can't make that translation, what good does it do to be inspired by some author only then to lay the book down, go out, and react in fear? It doesn't do us any good. That's where addiction to spiritual literature comes in. What would that be? Spiritual SLA? Spiritual Literature Anonymous? We'd start some... Yeah, I've been addicted to this all my life. I don't know. I feel good when I read, but I feel horrible when I live my life. So I've got to read all the time or listen to tapes. I don't think we have to do that. Those things remind us of what we already have, the faculties that are already in play. And how are we using those? That's what spiritual development means. How are we using what we already have? And most of us could say we're pointing it right to the problem. I've got to solve it. We've got all of our energy all wrapped up there and we're tight as a rubber band. So we affirm divine love is doing its perfect work in me now. Think about your situation and let's say that together. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me now. Okay, that's not just words. That is indicating an experience. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me now. That means something's dissolving and something's being drawn to me. And it's for my highest good. It's not just pie in the sky thinking. It is true. The search for the glasses, when that ended, does that mean I don't care anymore? Does that mean, we're giving up? It means we're letting go. So that which we seek can make itself known. But we have this idea, if I stop worrying, it means I don't care. I'm not doing my job or whatever. But we feel God is a loving, guiding, comforting presence. We open our minds and hearts to the possibilities of growth in every area of being, conscious and unconscious. See love pouring into every aspect of your life to balance, heal, harmonize, and dissolve those things that stand in the way of your greater good. Love is working for you. So surrender to its perfect work in absolute trust that those things which fall away need to do so, and those new inspired ideas that come to you have done so by divine appointment. And by that, I mean just the letting go. Let's let this thing go so we can find it. Let's let this thing go so we can let it work out. Complete spiritual responsibility. All right? Pretty easy. It's a lot easier than the way you're doing it. So I'm here to make your life easier. All right. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you next week. Have a happy Valentine's Day. Did everybody get their heart, your chocolate? Okay. All right. Thanks.
You've been watching a talk presented by Reverend Doug Bottorff at Independent Unity here in beautiful Grand Junction, Colorado. We would like to thank everyone who joined us here today, as well as those of you who joined us online. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel, and be sure to share it with those you think who might benefit from this message. If this brought value to your life, please consider donating to us on PayPal at paypal.com/us/fundraiser/charity /1974724. Thanks again for watching.